The man from the MacEachern Company's here. Well, you know him as the guy in the kilt from the commercials. It's Dan MacEachern. Welcome to the program.
Glad to be here, Michael.
We're going to talk all things patio and home improvement and kitchens and all kind of stuff. How is business these days? Is there a season for you?
Yeah, there is, but it's kind of hard to tell. Be prepared for this. Is that now the patios are really doing well, and patio covers. And I just finished a Majorca model patio cover, and then it turned out really well. And then I was over at PCM, and they said someone there was looking for a contractor. And she goes, I want some guy named Dan. And she goes, he's standing right behind you. And so that's how we have another one, and I'm doing the same model, and it's turned out really well.
Is that a lot of your business? Is folks like, I saw this, I want this in the community you work in?
It is, and particularly it's like, someone says they saw the neighbor, and so that's great. So I go out and I talk to them, I bring them over, and we look at it, and it doesn't get really much better than that. And so many of the units are similar, and people say, hey, I recognize that model. I have that model. Mm-hmm. So that's what has been pushing this last couple and I think the rain. When we had all that rain a couple of months ago, and people started thinking about patios, and now the sun's out, and now they're talking about shade.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's the lead time? Let's say, hey, I'm going to have Thanksgiving. We're going to have a lot of family over, and I want to have a little shade in the backyard. Maybe we'll eat in the backyard. What's the lead time you need to do like a patio? And then, I mean, I know it's different. It varies because kitchens can be really dramatic or not too much. But what's the lead time on those kinds of things?
Well, that's a good question. Generally, a patio enclosure takes about 6 to 8 weeks, a patio room, from start to finish. But because of the permits and getting the building permits from the HOA and the city, it's working out better now. So we're able, and we're confident now that, okay, we can get the permit for this job. So we can go ahead and start the process, get it remeasured and get it going, and while the permit process is moving along. So then it's really getting the date for the install that seems to be, because there's so much work right now that you've got to set the date for the install as soon as you can. Mm-hmm. And then you might set it out like 2 months, but then if you can work back a little bit, you got it. So it takes, and a patio cover generally is about 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, but the actual job on a patio enclosure is about a week to install. On a cover, it's just a couple of days.
Okay. So if people want to, if they want to redo their kitchen, they're going to, hey, for Thanksgiving, we're going to host, but we really need a redo on the kitchen. It's time to start thinking about those things now and book something in the next few weeks to be able to say, for you to be able to say, yes, we can do this by Thanksgiving, right?
A kitchen would take about 3 months.
Yeah, so we're talking about give you a call tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, and so and that's why the patio business was I'm kind of, because I've done all this remodeling and total remodels, that I like the idea of sticking with the kitchens and the patio enclosures now, and so that's a little quicker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now. How do the patios stand up in terms of leaks and those kinds of things? And in terms of material, I imagine when you put one in, you pretty much take care of all that. Right. But when you kind of attach it to the house or something like that, it can be the little seams that happen.
A patio room, particularly, or even a cover, is not like building a regular roof on a house, and that, because you got more layers of protection. A patio, you basically got your insulated aluminum roof, and you have one layer of protection. So on that, you got to set it in right and caulk everything. And so it's particularly important that you give a little time after the job's installed to make sure it doesn't have any kind of leaks. Mm-hmm. And it used to be like in the business, you give 1 year labor. I just forgot about that, because people would call you 2 years later and they have a leak. And so I just said, listen, you own the cover, you buy the cover for me or the enclosure. I'll guarantee the thing won't leak. And if you have a leak 4 or 5 years from now, I'll fix it for nothing.
Right. Okay.
And so that became the thing. You just stand behind it, because and the leak may be just a little spot. We miss a little caulking or something like that. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Right. No. And the normal kind of wear of weathering and storms and that kind of thing can also just,
It can. It may take 10 years. And some of these covers go, 20 years. And they call me out, and maybe it's one I did or I didn't do. I go, well, yeah, this has done a pretty good job, but I got to reseal this.
Yeah.
So I got to scrape out the caulk and reseal it. So,
right.
And particularly now the way they're built really well, and they can stand up to a lot. So they're like a room.
When you walk into a kitchen, when you walk into somebody's thing, how much I mean, most people don't know exactly what they want, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I'm guessing that's one of the things. What are some of the things that you find like, okay, here's the mistakes people make, or here's what you should know before you call me, or should think about before you call me?
Well, when it comes to a kitchen remodel, what I've learned is listen to the woman of the house. And so if you ask them, what are you going to do? Maybe, I don't really get into, well, how much money are you going to spend? That's really not the issue. What model do you have, and what can we, what do you want to do? You want to complete, and that's most of the time we do the complete remodel. Years ago, we used to do partials and do some new cabinets. That kind of is not, that's a little hard to find that skilled craftsman to come in there just to redo a few cabinets.
Right.
And now it's more like, hey, you got it and redo it. But in kitchen remodels, everything I've learned about remodeling a kitchen, I learned from a woman. And you go out there and ask them. I started just by doing it, and then a lady told me one time, I would not, a man built this kitchen, I guarantee you. And I didn't know that. A woman wouldn't do it this way. And so that's what I do, listen.
And the things you have a checklist for folks, here's the things we need to kind of hammer out, so they kind of guide them through that process.
Right, it's like you make up a little list, okay, here's what we got. And just list it all. We're going to do cabinets, or the flooring, what we're going to do with the ceiling. Are we going to take it out, leave it, build a little bit. And taking out a lot of these older models have these drop ceilings with fluorescent lights, and so we generally have to take that out, raise the ceiling a little bit, and that's been the way we've done it.
Yes, you walk people through all the decision points that have to be
Right,
made.
yeah, right.
From picking out the aesthetic and the look to layout and all that.
Yeah, and whatever the homeowner, if you're dealing with a kitchen, it's like, okay, let's go down and we'll look at granite, we'll look at tile. What are you going?
Right.
And a lot of solid surface countertops are being used nowadays because it's clean, a nice, simple little. And so you go down and you get it, pick out what you want, and go.
Now, do you have a lot of folks that you work with that are local in terms of, like, I know we had supply chain issues for a while, so do a lot of your vendors make them in-house or locally?
Particularly, yeah, the manufacturer of the aluminum product is in Buena Park. And I've been with those guys for 35 years. And just staying with one company has its benefits. And so, but our cabinets are made right in Irvine now. And that has worked out great. So it's like, and I know the guy who runs the company. He's a cabinet builder himself. He comes out and will measure this thing off. So there's a familiarity there that really makes it comfortable.
Right.
Okay, I know what I'm getting, and I know when I'm going to get it.
Okay.
So,
now, what are you looking forward to? What do you got on the horizon?
Well, I just, that job right there that's on the picture there, there's not 90, that's like 95% finished. We're just getting it. And so, but that was just a big, uneven patio floor and all that. And so now we did an insulated roof, and they don't have any furniture in there now, but soon there will be, and that thing's going to be looking great. But I'm looking to do a little more kitchens and keep going with the patio enclosures.
Okay, well, Dan, I wish you well.
Thank you.
Good luck with that. Yeah, I know you do great work. I've seen so many of your pictures and talked to you, so it's wonderful job out there. Dan MacEachern from the MacEachern Company. When we come back, we're going to be talking to the folks from the Democratic Club. Stay with us.